Every Sunday, that mask gets wrapped around here, and I have no idea how. It's like Christmas lights. You never know how they get, but they do every single time. Truth. It is time for us to begin talking about truth. It is that time of year when kids will start to ask questions about Christmas truths, so to speak. Kids ask questions all the time, don't they? Mommy, where does the moon go when the sun comes up? Mommy, where do I come from? There are all those questions that get asked, right? One child I read this week asked his mom, Mom, where did poo come from? Poo? Well, and she explained that, you eat food to get your nourishment, and nourishment goes in, and food comes in, and your body doesn't use it all, and so it has waste, and then waste comes out, and you go to the bathroom, and it's waste, and that's where poo comes from. He says, oh, well, then where does Tigger come from? Oh, okay. Yep, different poo. Kids ask questions. I actually read someone this week that said that a parent will get asked 500 questions by their child. 500 questions? More like 500 a day. Have you raised a 3-year-old? Seriously. Have you ever raised a toddler? It's like 500 a day. I have 5 kids. They're all grown now. My grandkids are that age. Daddy, who's that? I don't know. What's his name? I don't know. Why? I don't know him. Why? Because I've never met him. Why? Because you're asking too many questions. Stop it. Questions. Asked all the time. Today, there's a question I want to explore with you because I think it's seminal to our understanding of who we are as children of God and as people of faith. And I think, frankly, a lot of people answer those questions wrongly in the church, and it does a lot more damage than it does health. Pilate asked the question today of Jesus, are you a king? He says, you say that I am. I've come to testify to the truth. And those who belong to the truth will listen to me. Those who belong to the truth will listen to me. Then Pilate says, what is truth? What is truth? There's a philosophical question. There's a Chinese proverb that says, he who asks a question is a fool for 5 minutes. He who never asks a question is a fool for his whole lifetime. What is truth? What did Jesus mean by that? Well, I'm going to get a little philosophical on you today, so forgive me. Truth implies a few things. If there are truths, there are things that are not truths. For something to be a truth, there must be things that are not truths, correct? I'm sorry, there are no such things as alternative facts. They're called lies. They're called lies, right? There are truths, and then there are lies. Truth can philosophically be known. Truth can be understood. Truth, if truth can be understood, truth can be misunderstood. Truth can be missed. For something to have been able to be gotten, it can also be not gotten. And truth can change us. Knowing the truth can change our understanding of who we are and our world. Do you remember a few good men? You want the truth. You can't handle the truth. Truth can change us if we allow ourselves to handle it. What is Jesus talking about here? What is the truth? Truth is the reason we exist. That's what Jesus is saying. The truth is the reason we exist. It's what it's all about. Truth, philosophically and theologically, defines us. Follow me on this. It defines who we are. It defines how we act. It is in some ways our compass that directs our time and our energy, and it makes us who we are. People can have many different versions of what they think, quote unquote, is truth. But Jesus is being pretty clear here. The truth is unequivocal in his mind, and therefore for us. You can have lots of understandings of truth, but just because you understand it, it doesn't mean it's correct. I've actually said that to several people on Facebook. You're welcome to your opinion. It doesn't make it right. Be quiet. You're being a racist. People can have many versions of what they think is the truth, but the reality is our faith teaches us that truth is true. You see, sometimes we're defined by, or we think our truth is defined by our success. It's defined by our power. It's defined by our privilege. It's defined by our looks. Truth is defined by our sexuality. Truth is defined by the things that we think make us better in our eyes than the eyes of those around us. Our popularity, our possessions, our accomplishments. None of these, by the way, are bad things. None of them are bad things. They're all fine. There's nothing wrong with power. Someone's got to have some. There's nothing wrong with possessions. You got to have things. There's nothing wrong with looks. We all don't want to be ugly. There's nothing wrong with wealth. We all can't be poor. There's nothing wrong with having things. But those things aren't our truth. They're not philosophically, ontologically the truth of what we exist. They don't define us. They don't direct us. They're not our moral compass. They're side things that are nice, but they're not our compass that directs our life. Do you see the difference? What is it that directs our life? What Jesus means is this. Truth is eternal. His truth, this truth, changes us. If we listen to Christ, the scriptures say, we belong to his truth. His truth becomes our truth, and that truth becomes our moral compass. It becomes what guides us as a church family and as individuals at work, at school, at home, in our friendships, in our relationships, in our marriage, in the way we parent. What is this truth? I made a list, things that I've found in my own understanding of the scriptures in the church. What is this truth? There is no one God can't love. There is no one beyond the bounds of God's love. Anyone who tells you that God can't love you is a liar. Anyone tells you that you can't love someone else because they're this, that, they're a liar. Remember, just because you believe it doesn't make it right. Another truth, that all people are created in the divine image and all people are worthy of dignity and love. We talked in a new members class today about the fact that the rules were written by the people who were in power, and they reflected that vision of the people who were in power. So who were the people who were in? The ones who looked and believed, like those who wrote the rules, right? When men wrote the rules, women were out. When Europeans wrote the rules, people with darker skin were out. When straight people wrote the rules, the gays were out. And so the truth, if we really get to what Jesus talked about and mirrored what Jesus lived, there's no one who's not worthy. There's no one who is out. The poor, the refugee, the orphaned, the outcast are just as worthy as those who are not. Another truth, nothing alienates us from God. There is nowhere you can go, nowhere, that will alienate you from God's love. Back in the 70s, people used to say, I heard, I wasn't around in the 70s, I'm sorry. You're supposed to agree with me. Back in the 70s, people say, have you found Jesus? Have you found? You heard, have you found? I didn't know the Lord of all creation could get lost. The reality, Jesus didn't get lost, I did. God doesn't go anywhere. I can wander, but there is nothing that will alienate me from God's love. There's nowhere I can go that God will not bring me back or welcome me when I do. Another truth that I glean from my faith. There is no sin. There is no past. There is no brokenness. There is no harm I will ever do or anyone will ever do to me that is not forgivable and reconcilable and will ever keep God from me. So many times people feel like their past, that tape, that voice, the stuff in their past keeps them from being lovable. Jesus was really clear. I've forgiven it years ago. Why do you continue to hold it? Let it go and let God heal you. Another one of the truths, I think. People are more important than rules. Jesus got in trouble because he picked grain on the Sabbath to feed the poor. Jesus got in trouble because he healed people on the Sabbath. That was considered work. Jesus was very clear. The Sabbath is made for man, not man for the Sabbath. People are more important than our rules. When rules take precedence over humans, over feelings, over inclusion, over love and mercy, we've missed the point. The other one I came up with was, God is more concerned with loving us than with judging us. God is not some eternal judge waiting with finger pointed with lightning bolts coming out. That's manipulation. That's control. And that's not at all the truth of the Scriptures. So what difference does all that make? You may have other things that you find are the truths of God, but that's what I find in the message and meaning of Christ. What difference does it make? It makes a big difference. It means that our lives now reflect that truth. It means that I walk in the direction that I'm headed, right? And it sounds simple, but you can't tell me I'm heading north if I'm really heading east. I mean, I can't say I'm going one way when clearly I'm going another. There are a lot of people in Christianity today who say they're heading one way, but their lives say they're heading another. Nadia Bolz-Weber, the amazing rebel Lutheran pastor who I adore, says this: people aren't leaving Christianity because they don't believe in Jesus. People are leaving Christianity in droves because they believe the message of Jesus and they're tired of being a part of an organization who so obviously does not. Let me repeat that. People aren't leaving Christianity because they don't believe in Jesus. They're leaving Christianity because they believe the meaning and teachings of Christ, and they're tired of belonging to a group that obviously does not. When you say you're going in one way and you live in another way, you are clearly not. Sorry, church. Today is the day to examine that. Our lives reflect our truth. They do. I've done sermons in the past where I ask people to open their wallets and tell me what's in it. What you have in your wallet reflects you, right? Pictures of your grandkids. Back when we all carried pictures, now they're on our phone. Maybe I'd have you open your phone and see what's in it. Maybe that reflects our values more. Our values are reflected by what's in our phone, in our wallet. What the Scriptures teach us today is that's our truth. You can say it with your lips, but your life will say it with your actions. What is our truth? It depends on how we answer the question. To which truth do we belong? Which truth defines us? Which truth is our compass? This is Christ the King Sunday. This is it, guys. We've spent the whole year talking about what it means to be disciples. Today is the pinnacle. What does it mean to have Christ be the sovereign of this church and of our lives? Today is the day for the decision. Whose truth are you going to hang your hat on? Whose truth are you going to let guide your life? The truth of inclusion and love and mercy and grace. That's the truth of Jesus Christ. Amen.